Hello and welcome back to another devlog of Project Vox. For anybody new here, Project Vox is a co-op top-down shooter with roguelike elements. The game already has a Steam page, so if it seems interesting to you, make sure to wishlist it. Thanks, now on to the video. Last time I mentioned I already gave the game to my friends to playtest and give me feedback. Since then, I had time to address some of the issues. One of those were the visuals of the first level. They said that the colors and, well, the contrast is just too much. Now for reference, this was the first planet, and personally I didn't really see an issue with it. But nonetheless, people didn't like it, so I changed it. And this is how it looks now. Now we can compare them side by side and see if the changes were for the better. And upon close inspection, all I can really say is, holy sh**, what the f*** was I thinking? This So yeah, and the embarrassing part is that I actually thought that the previous visuals were really good. Because my idea was to use vibrant pink to really emphasize that this is an alien planet. But clearly, this just wasn't it. So now we have this desert-ish level, which maybe doesn't really scream alien planet, but at least it doesn't burn your eyes just by looking at it. Anyways, if there's anything to take away from all of this, it's get feedback on your projects, whatever they might be. Then, as a last note for the visuals, I also created a water shader for this water level. And this is it. And while on the topic of water, did you know that there is actually a surprising amount of water out there in space? And not just on meteors and other moons in our solar system, but also just clouds of vapor floating around stars. Heck, even Mars has evidence to suggest there is water beneath its surface. So yeah. Back to the game. One other concern that was brought to my attention was that the game isn't really a bullet haven, in the sense that the abilities and powers aren't that grand, at least not compared to other games in the genre, where you obliterate everything on screen each second. To fix this, there were two possible solutions. The first one was to make the abilities more fancy, and the other one was to make the game more gameplay focused, so that despite the game not being so visually satisfying, it will still be fun to play. And I chose the latter, not because it was easier to do, well, that's too, but the game by itself was already heading in that direction. It just wasn't quite there yet. So to fix this, I added two new features: enemy attacks and dodge rolling. Enemies now no longer hurt you by simply touching you. Instead, each enemy now has an actual attack. The way it works is pretty simple. They get close to you, start winding up their attack, and after a short delay, they attack. And all you gotta do is not stand in the red area. Should be easy, especially for all the MMO players, right? And the system itself is made so that adding new unique attacks is fast and simple. All I gotta do is fill out this table. And we have a new attack. Now, as mentioned, enemies no longer hurt you by touching you, meaning they also no longer pass through you, but instead they now block you. And that's where the dodge roll comes into place. Dodge rolling will allow you to pass through enemies, making its prime purpose for repositioning. And the best part about implementing this feature is, well, that it was a breeze to implement, free of any game-breaking glitches. None at all. None at all. And as a side note, even though I am a From Software fanboy, the answer is no. Dodge rolling does not give you invincibility frames. So don't stand in the red. Now for context, before entering each mission, you would always select your class first. Each class has a unique weapon and abilities. Some classes have strong but slow firing weapons, and others, well, the opposite of that. But now I also added additional weapon variants for each class, meaning that despite the original weapon of the class being, let's say, a slow firing sniper rifle, you could instead choose a variant in which your fire rate is faster, but of course it has other downsides to make it balanced. So in essence, all the variants aren't meant to be stronger, just stats allocated a bit differently so that each class can be somehow adjusted to the player's unique playstyle. There are 8 weapon variants for each class, and each of them also comes with a slightly different model. Now these variants can be basically described as the default one, the fast but weak, the strong but slow, the I'm bad all around but am excellent for crit builds, the fire one, the electric one, the frost one, and lastly the psychedelic one. And all of the variants will be unlocked while progressing through the game. And while we're still here, I also added the option to paint your character and weapons. Each character and weapon models are made out of 3 colors, which can be fully painted as you see fit. First, I made a page where you have some suggested colors using the same color palette I did. I also made these color sliders so that you can truly fulfill your visions. So with that said, I can't wait to see everybody make their future McDonald's worker. And that's mostly everything. I also spent quite some time finishing up the multiplayer side of things, and as a matter of fact, I thought I did finish it. However, it turned out that the main lobby system for joining games does in fact not work. So there's that. But besides this, the game's main features and systems are in place. The game is coming along quite well. All that's seemingly left to do is to add more content and polish. Now, I'm not making any promises, I learned that much. But if everything goes well, there might be a free demo up on Steam by the end of the next month. But again, no promises. So with that all said, stay safe and have a wonderful day. Bye!